Hello, hello, Nikki. I'm so happy to have you today.
Justine, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. I'm so excited to talk about leadership because I feel like every leader has some story that they have been through. Today we're going to be focusing a lot on thought leadership, and you're the pro in that. In every Mentally About Us episode, we're going to learn a little bit more about you before the wisdom that you're going to provide us today.
I'm originally an immigrant from the Middle East. I'm a Christian from Iran. When I was 11 years old, that was 1968, the Islamic Revolution took place in Iran. And that like turned my world upside down. And
Hmm.
um, my mom and dad, though, they were like looking around at what was happening, right? So there was shootings in the streets.
Hmm.
People were being injured, killed. The government of the Shah, which was a pro-Western moderate government, was overthrown, and this
Hmm.
kind of insane theocratic government of the mullahs came in. And mom
Hmm.
and dad said, "We got to hightail it out of here, man. This isn't a place to raise a Christian family."
Yeah.
So they made a plan. They took me and my two brothers out of Iran, and they settled us eventually where I now live in Toronto, Canada. So that took almost 4 years, right?
Hmm.
Now you got to get, I was a kid. I didn't want to leave my home. I didn't want to leave my friends, man.
Hmm.
But looking back, it was the greatest thing mom and dad could have done for me and my two brothers. They took us from a legacy of tyranny to a legacy of freedom. I believe every man, every woman on this planet yearns to be free. They want
Yeah.
to march to the tune of their own drummer. They want to chart their own course. And if you think about it, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're an artist, you need freedom to figure out what way you want to go,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
it's this freedom that allows you to create the life of your dreams. Everybody should be a champion for freedom. And I believe we all need to take stock and make sure we never take freedom for granted,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
there's forces that want to take our freedoms away from us. And we need to take a bold stand. A lot of people say, look, you're an entrepreneur, you're an artist, man. You're going to say, hey, yo, man, I'm not into politics, man. But I got news for you. Politics is into you. So be a
Hmm.
champion for freedom first and foremost.
Yeah, and I also like to talk about freedom on the side of mental health. Like I honestly, when you were saying all that, I was feeling pretty pumped. I love the way your enthusiasm and your passion. When it comes to, I'm really, really huge on freedom as well. Like for me, I'm an entrepreneur myself. I don't work a 9 to 5 anymore, and I crave the freedom. I don't like to be controlled or anything like that. As humans, we are meant to be free, to be living the life how we want to live. So as you're saying all of that, I was like, yes, we're going to have such a fantastic conversation. I'm so excited for this.
Oh, my.
Let's talk about you said that you had like an unexpected divorce. Can we go a little bit into that as well?
Yeah, for sure. But before I get into that, let me just kind of connect the dots. Okay.
Hmm.
So we leave Iran, we come to Canada, right? And it took me a while to really understand what a blessing it was to live in a free country.
Hmm.
And I'm growing up, I'm trying to figure out, well, what do I want to do? Who do I want to be? Right. And I was very fortunate in that my father is the greatest man I've ever known.
Hmm.
Like growing up, I tell you, this is a man that if you knew him, you were trying to find a job, he'd sit you down in his office, he'd call all his buddies until he got your job. If you're trying to start a business, he'd sit you down in his office, he'd listen to what you had to say, he'd give you his best advice, he'd put you in touch with people with capital, clients to buy from you, get you going. And if you were trying to buy a car or a house and the bank wouldn't give you quite enough money, he'd top you up with a loan. And then when you tried to pay it back to him, he'd go, "What are you talking about? Get out of here." Right. And
Hmm.
people would always say to me, "Come on, man, this ain't real. There's nobody really like that, right?" I go, "No, no, no." My dad was like, they go, "Why would he do that? What's in it for
Hmm.
him?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, what's in it for him?" Well, first of all, he was a devout Christian. He believed he'd been blessed by God and his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And it was his duty to share those blessings with other people. But secondly, right, he did it because he could, man. He was rich. He was successful. Me, I wanted to be like my dad. I wanted to be
Hmm.
somebody people looked up to. And
Hmm.
so I decided to become an entrepreneur because I believe entrepreneurs are society's greatest heroes. They're the
Yeah.
ones who go after their dreams and their visions. And because they have the courage to do that, they move the human race forward, right?
Yeah.
And I wanted to be like that. And dad would
Yeah.
always tell me, son, you need to believe in people. Everyone needs someone to believe in them. You, me, everybody, right? Believe in people. Because there's moments where their self belief wobbles. So, you know what? I got into business because I
Mhm.
wanted to be someone who believed in people. Dad would say to me, that woman sitting in front of you, that's someone's daughter, that's someone's sister, that's someone's wife. That's a hero to somebody, right? Maybe she's
Mhm.
been let down by someone just like you in business. It's your job to restore her faith in humanity, right? So I got
Yeah.
into business to help people, to help them basically be successful in business. And there's a lot of people that get into business. They're good people,
Mhm.
Justine, but you know what? They're good people. But what they are is they're not good at business. They're good at what
Mhm.
they do, but they're not good at sales. They're not good at marketing, right? The idea of selling, they don't want to be seen as pushy or salesy or reeking of commission breath when they walk in the room. So they don't go after business. Problem with
Yeah.
this is they lose out on business they should get. And the client loses because then some charlatan marketer comes, swoops that business up, right? But they don't care
Mhm.
if they deliver or not. So, me, I hope the good people get what they need to get, right? Because I go, wait a minute, you don't have to look at it as sales. You can look at it as service. Now,
Yeah.
Justine, no one wants to look at life as being sold. You don't want to be sold. I don't want to
Beef,
be sold.
yeah.
But don't you love it when someone serves you? And so when I
Yeah.
tell people this, they double, triple, quadruple their business. I had this woman who was a functional medicine doctor, and I just taught her how to look at things as service and not sales.
Mhm.
First year, man, doubled her business. Second year, doubled it again. Third year, doubled it again. She went from making 100 grand a year to making 100 grand a month. You know what
Mhm.
I'm talking about? And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. So me, this is this is where I came to, right? I came to the stage of I am from Iran. I'm a father's son, and I believe in people.
Yeah. I have a question off that actually. Have you worked with somebody who, have those limiting beliefs? Because limiting beliefs can usually come from like childhood trauma and such. Like, have you worked with somebody and it just, you were able to get them from there to like where you were just saying? 'Cause I know that that happens sometimes where it can be like their childhood trauma, like blocking them from that.
So listen, I don't deal with trauma. It's not my thing. But what I deal with is I deal with people that are already decided that they want to win. Like
Hmm.
you can't lead a horse. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make her drink, right? So
Yeah.
that's the deal. You got to make a decision. I'm in it to win it. Then you got to be ready to do the work. You got to be ready to be bad at something before you're okay at it, before you're good at it, before you're great at it. That's important. Then you got to
Hmm.
be coachable and you got to be willing to invest in coaching, right? You can't be thinking, oh, I'm going to do it by myself. No, man, you need coaching. You need help. You got to invest in you. You're the most important asset in your life and in your business. You deserve every bit of investment that you can put into yourself. And then finally, you got to be resourceful. You got to come up with the time, the energy, the money, right? In
Yeah.
order to make yourself successful. If you have those four qualities, I'll work with you and you'll become successful. If you don't have those four qualities, I can't work with you and I won't work with you.
Hmm. Have you ever went through moments of self-doubt? The reason I ask that because I have the
Yeah,
same
anytime.
mindset as you. Like I definitely believe you really want something, you will do anything to get to it. So I like completely, agree with you on that point. So can you talk about the time where you've had self-doubt? Because we're not all perfect. So just for the purpose of just being relatable and vulnerable, can you discuss a time where you had self-doubt?
Well, I went through a divorce as you mentioned earlier, right?
Hmm.
And when it happened, I was like completely shocked that my wife wanted a divorce. I thought we were doing great. Maybe I should have seen it coming, but I didn't. And my self confidence took a big hit. I was kicked out of my home, I was sleeping on my mother's couch. I hadn't made any money in a year. So believe me, not a lot of self confidence or self belief there.
Mhm.
But a friend of mine took pity on me and he bought me a ticket to a business conference. So I put on my suit. We went to the conference. I saw this man deliver a talk. It spoke to my soul. So when it was over, I rushed to the stage. I elbowed everybody out of the way. And I said, "Hey, my name's Nicky Billou. Let me tell you my story." So I told him my story. And when I was done telling him my story, I said, "I think I need to hire you." He said, "Okay." He said, "But you need to understand something." I said, "What is that?" He said, "I charge a minimum of $5,000 for 5 hours of my coaching time. And I charge with the following conditions. You got to pay me upfront in full. No guarantees, no refunds. You still want to hire me, son?" I'm like, "Whoa, I don't have that kind of money because I hadn't worked in a year, right?" He said,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'll give you some free coaching." I said, "Oh, all right. Sounds good." And he said, "It doesn't matter how much money you have." I said, Hold up. Didn't you just say to me you want five? Of course it matters how much money I have. He said, "Wait, son, there's 20 people lined up behind you who all want to work with me. I don't need your business. You need me." He was right. He said, "It doesn't matter how much money you have. What matters is how bad do you want change?" He said, "Let me recap for you. You are grown ass man, two kids. Your wife just kicked you out of the house. You're sleeping on your mother's couch. You haven't made any money in a year, right? How much longer do you want to put up with this?" I go, "What? How much longer do you want to put up with this? A day, a week, a month, a year?" I'm like, whoa. A lifetime? When he said a lifetime, man, it was like getting kicked in the chest by a horse. I'm like, whoa, okay. Give me a couple days. I'll be right back. He said, "All right, I made an appointment to see him in 2 days." Now, I was a fitness coach back then, and I had some people I was talking to who about doing business. They had not said yes, they had not said no. So I called him up with a lot of urgency and focus. And I said, "Look, I got good news, I got bad news." They said, "Okay, what's the good news?" I said, "I'll tell you the bad news first. Bad news is you're fat. And if you don't lose some weight, you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke or get cancer. And that's not good." I go, "You're right." And I said, "I'm broke and I need money so I can go see my kids. So I'm going to make you a deal of a lifetime, half price. But here's the catch." What's the catch? You got to say yes or no now. You got to pay me now. It's yes. Two guys said yes, $1,000 each, and at $2,000. I was ecstatic. First money I'd made in a year. I go see this guy, and I dropped $2,000 on his desk, smiling ear to ear. And guy says, "That's lovely, but I said five, not two." I
We have a
said, "Hey,
question. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
let
you.
me finish. Let me finish."
Okay.
And I said, "Bill," his name was Bill, "how many times have you told this story to people?" He said, "Over the years, 30 or 40. I'm like, 30 or 40? Wow, that's a lot." He goes, "Yeah. Besides me, who else came back with any money?" He just smiled and he said, "Well, you're the first, actually." I go, "Really? I'm the first?" He goes, "Yeah, you're the first." I go, "The first?" He goes, "The very first." I go, "Okay, so Bill, take my money. I'm going to sign a contract with you that I'll pay you the rest of the money in 30, 60 days, whatever the case may be, because I want change bad." He agreed. And the rest is history. Within 6 months, I made six figures.
Hmm.
I paid him back early because I wanted change bad. And my question to you, Justine, and to your audience is, how bad do you want change? How much longer are you willing to put up with your current situation? A day, a week, a month, a year, or the rest of your life? Because if you say you really want change, wouldn't it be now is the time to act?
Yeah, that makes sense. So just want to go back just on one question, just to clarify, because you for your story. So you mentioned he asked for five, But then of course you mentioned that you don't have the money at the time, and then he didn't he like offer some free coaching from my memory?
Yeah, I told you
But
coaching was. How bad do you want change?
okay, I didn't know if he like I thought he like offered you a couple of sessions at first and
No,
then
coaching was on
no.
the spot.
That's what I wanted to ask. I just want to just clarify that. I appreciate you clarifying that for me. So I want to talk more about limiting beliefs and fear. I feel like that's something that you know a lot about. And what do you, I guess, what do you have to say? Because everybody's brains and experiences work differently. And I believe that if you really want something, you'll go for it. Because trust me, I've been there. I've totally been there. I wanted to get out of my 9 to 5. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I did what I had to do to work full time in social media with doing YouTube, working like till 2 a.m., waking up at 7. Like I definitely hustled, but it took me some time to get there. And so, like, for me, just coming from like a psychological, like, perspective and mental health is that I just like people have different life experience and different ways of thinking. So I guess my question is like, do you believe that despite of what anyone has gone through or their way of thinking, like, do you think, I guess you can say, do you think like every single person can come together and think of like the same mindset of and like, oh, I can do this and kind of jump from the fear? Because I know for some people it's harder. For me, I got through it, but I know a lot of people around me when I try to push them and to motivate them, they don't because of fear. So I want to go more in depth about fear. I feel like that's very important in this conversation.
So, Justine, anybody can do anything they put their mind to, but not everybody will. Only 5% of people are willing to do the work. Everybody else isn't. They're just not. And here's the good news: if you're one of the 5%, you're going to kill it. You're going to kill it. But most people are in the 95%, and
Yeah.
they're not willing to take action. I have a policy.
Hmm.
I work with the committed, with the decisive, with the coachable, with the resourceful. If you're not all four of those things, I don't work with you. Somebody comes to me and goes, well, show me how to get rid of my fear. No, it's not my job.
Hmm.
Your job is to act regardless of whether you're scared or not. My job is to show you you can win. Your job is to act and take the coaching. If you're not willing to do that, goodbye. Nice meeting you. I wish you luck. You're going to need it because life
Hmm.
is hard. Anybody who comes and tells you life is easy, that's not true. Now you can make it a lot easier. It's possible to have incredible results. Justine, you can make this year, you can make $1 million. I can show you how to do it. It's possible. And if you're ready to do it, you're ready to do the work and you're focused and you're committed, it will happen. But here's the truth. If there are 20 people sitting here and you're one of the 20, only one of the 20 is going to do it. Only one. The other 19, they're not.
Yeah, I actually did get I did have like a free coaching session with someone that I actually think you may know her because I saw that you guys follow each other on Instagram. Do you know Jessie Torres?
Yeah, Jesse's a friend of
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, I interviewed her on my podcast. She's awesome. Yeah, so I did have like a session with her, and she was fantastic, phenomenal. I really like enjoyed my conversation with her, and she did actually do like the offer with the whole like 5K, or I think actually it was 7. And I mean, I was in a position kind of similar to yours where I didn't just have that money to, or I mean, if I did, it's kind of like all my savings, and if it didn't really like go anywhere, I'd kind of be pretty much like broke, if you know what I mean. So I guess in my position, like, I guess what is what do you have to say to people who have to think financially about it? Because if it's risk taking, I feel like there's one point of wanting to be really, achieving what you're saying, but also have to think as like bills or like make sure there's food on the table.
all those are true. Like I said, when I met that fella Bill, I had no money. I was sleeping on my mother's couch. I was a grown ass man with 2 sons. That's not a cool thing, sleeping
Hmm.
on your mother's couch. I went and I came up with $2,000 and I gave him the rest. in less than 30 days. You got to make a commitment. You got to make a decision. It's on you. It's on you. If you're thinking, what if it's going to fail? You're going to fail. You're going to fail. You've not made a decision. You're going to succeed. I told you the first thing I need out of a person is a decision that they're going to win.
Yeah.
You come to me and go, I don't know if this is going to work. I can't work with you because you're not committed. You're not decided. You got to be like, this is going to work. It's just a matter of when and who is the right person for me to work with. But you have to believe you're going to win. You have to. Any other thing, you will fail. You'll be one of those poor, lovable folks, that go through life as a wandering generality rather than a meaningful specific. Do you want to be a wandering generality, Justine? Do you want to go through life just going from place to place, not directing anything, letting the current of life carry you? Or do you want to be a meaningful specific where you chart your course and you make it happen?
Yeah. That makes sense. I mean, it's still something that I'm working on. So, did you have a time where it took you some time to get to that place, or did you kind of just already have that mindset?
Everybody goes through a period of time where they don't believe in themselves very much. And I think I just told you about the divorce situation I was in, and there's been other ones. But I'll tell you a story of one of my clients, okay? Because I think this is the best way to demonstrate this. So I had a client, a woman by the name of Adele, like the singer, right? So Adele, great lady. When I met her, she was 56. This was, God, 9 years ago. So she'd be 65 now. And she was a coach and she was really good at what she did. But I'm going to use a technical business term here. She sucked, that being the technical business term, at getting clients. She made on a good month $1,000, $2,000
On a good month, you said?
on a good month.
Oh, okay.
Her average month was $500. Now she had a husband, otherwise she'd be broke. She'd be out on the street. But she spent a lot of money on all of these charlatan marketer coach types. She spent $125,000 with
Really?
zero return. This is all on credit cards,
Oh, okay.
Her
Past
husband
that.
goes to her. Her husband goes to her and goes, "Sweetheart, give me your credit card. You're spending us in the poorhouse." And she was heartbroken, but she did because she really believed that she could help people. She was introduced to me,
Yeah.
and me and my lady, we worked together, and we knew what was wrong with her methods, and we knew how to help her. So we said to her, "Hey, Adele, we can help you. This is what you're doing wrong. This is what you need to do right." And she said to me, "Okay, all right, I'm going to trust you. Here's my credit card, but this better work because my marriage is on the line." I'm like, "It'll work." So we helped Adele get clear on her why this was happening, why she wanted to do this. And we helped her get clear on who she was going to help and what their major pain points were. And I'm really good at getting people into action to go get sales, to get money. I'm really good at it. I'm the man. So within 2 months, Adele went from making $2,000 on a good month and like $200 to $500 most months. She made $20,000 a month. 20,000 a month. A year. So a year later, she comes and she shows me her Infusionsoft kind of revenue year over year. So January 2017, after working with us, she made $52,000. January of 2016, she'd only made 536. It was 100-fold increase in income. 100-fold. You follow me?
Yeah. Huge.
100-fold. That's crazy. But what made it happen? First of all, Adele made a decision. She was going to win. She wasn't going to quit. Secondly, she was committed to do the work. Thirdly, she found the right coach, me, and she was coachable. And fourthly, she was resourceful. She came up with the investment to pay me, and she
Mm-hmm.
did the work. And if you're listening to this and that's you and you've been trying things that's not really working out, you need the right coach to show you the right strategies, but you need someone who believes in you. I believed in Adele. I
Yeah.
believed in Adele. And it was an honor to help her succeed. It really was.
Do you still coach her or no?
No,
Okay. Just
people
didn't
don't
know if
need
you
to
had like a
stay.
more continuous or
People don't need to. She stayed with us for 2 years. We
yeah, that
helped her
makes
make a
sense.
lot of money. She learned what she needed to learn.
Yeah.
I don't believe that you need to coach people for the rest of their lives.
No, I know.
Coach them for a period of time, and it's a good thing. Sometimes that period could be a year, it could be 3 years, it could be 10 years. It's not forever,
Yeah, that's true.
it's not forever.
How do you know like when it's the right coach?
You need to think they believe in you and care about you. That's important, right? Because if they don't care about
Hmm.
you, they're just in it for the money, you shouldn't work with them. That's really, really important. Second question you got to be able to ask yourself is, do they know what the hell they're doing? Like, if they help people like me win, right? Have they gotten
Yeah.
results for someone else? And that's not a feeling thing. That's a,
Like logic, facts and
logic,
such.
right? That's logic, right? The
Yeah.
feeling part is, do they care about me? And I think that's very important, because if they don't care about you, it doesn't matter how good they are at getting results. You don't want to work with them.
Right. Yeah, that's
But
kind of where I was. Yeah.
yeah, they got to care. They got to be a good person who wants to see people win, right? Like, I love people. Like, I'm my father's son. I believe in people. I love people. I want to see them win. Nothing makes me happier than people making a lot of money. And
Yeah.
a lot of my clients have made a lot more money than me. And I'm good with that. I'm really good with that. Most amount of money my client of mine made in a year was 11.5 million. Okay.
In a
I never
year?
made,
Oh wow.
yeah, I've
Nice.
never made that kind of money myself. I've made a few 100,000, 5, 6, 700,000. Haven't even hit a million yet myself. I've had 12 of my clients make a million or more a year. Right. I've had about 90 of my clients make between 100,000 and 700,000 a year. You know, so for me, track record results are really, really, really important, and caring about people. And that's a personal thing. You got to see that, is this a good person? All my coaches care about me. I tell you that. A couple years ago, I was overweight. I hired a guy to help me lose weight, get into shape, and do bodybuilding competitions. And it was a tough journey, okay? But I lost 58 pounds in 6 months. And I did a bodybuilding competition at the age of 57. I came in third place. It was great. It was great. I paid this guy a lot of money. I was happy to pay him a lot of money. He got me a great result. I said earlier on in the podcast, for me, if you want to be successful, you got to have 4 qualities. What was the first one? Be decisive. Be decisive. I don't
Hmm.
work with indecisive people. I just don't. I don't have time for that. I
Yeah.
can't
You,
work with
you hate
someone.
me.
I can't work with someone who's. I don't hate you. I think you're
No,
awesome.
I'm just kidding. I'm just
You're a
kidding.
wonderful person. But like, if I say to you, hey, Justine, are you ready to grow your business? And you go, well, I'm not sure. You know what that says to me? You're not ready. Like, if I asked you that question, the only acceptable answer, if you want me to help you, is yes, I'm ready. It's the only acceptable answer.
Hmm.
Any other answer is she's not ready. And I don't have the energy to put into somebody that is not going to take the coaching and get a result. One of the reasons I have a really good track record with people is I'm picky on who I work with. I kind of make
That
sure I
makes
work with
sense.
people that are really, really ready, that are really going to win. And I also need coachable people. Like, if someone comes to me and they're trying to tell me how to coach them, I'll just look at them and go, hey, listen, I'm sorry. If you broke your arm, would you tell the surgeon how to set your bone? No, don't tell me how to coach you.
Yeah, that makes
I'm like the
sense.
surgeon. I'm the surgeon, right?
Hmm.
I have a process. It works. That's how we roll. If you don't like my process, don't work with me. Don't work with me. Go work with someone else. That's your
Yeah.
prerogative. But I'm not going to change. And it's really important. Like, when I hired this guy to get me ready for bodybuilding, What I did not do was go, you know what? I really don't like it when you tell me what to eat. I really want to eat whatever I want. All I want from you is coaching on how to work out. He's going to tell me to take a hike, right? No. He said, you're going to eat this food. I said, yes, I'll eat this food. You're going to check in with me once a week and let me know how you did. Yes. He said, for the first 6 months, you're going to check in with me every day. I'm like, oh, shit, every day? Okay, yes, I'll check in with you every day. Did I want to do it? No. Hell no. But I hired him and he knows what he's doing. And I didn't because I was fat. You understand what I'm saying? I was fat.
100%.
And if you're coming to a coach and you're broke, or maybe not broke, but you're like stagnating, right? Your business isn't growing and you're just hand to mouth. There's no extra money to do anything. You don't go to
Yeah.
your coach and go, well, I think I need this. Yeah, no, you don't know what you need. No offense, but you don't know what you need. If you knew how to do this, you would have already done it. You'd have already done it. The reason you hire a coach is the coach is the expert. Okay.
Yeah.
There was a guy, I started working with him in October of this year. He coaches men who are married, who their intimate life doesn't exist anymore. So he calls it a dead bedroom, right?
Hmm.
They and their wives, they're just not enjoying intimate relations anymore. This is a big problem. A lot of men in long term marriages have it, a lot of women too, obviously. So he's really good at fixing this. He's really good at helping men who have been in long term marriages
Hmm.
win back their wife's attraction, because it's an attraction issue, right? So when your wife's attracted to you, she wants to, be intimate with you again, right?
That's
And
interesting.
he's really good at it. He gets great results, but he was terrible at business, like terrible, like terrible. He made $100 a month on a good month. He had a day job, right? So that's why he was doing good.
Hmm.
He started working with me. This is in October. He's made 30,000 October. Pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good
Yeah.
for a guy who used to make $100 a month, right? So
Yeah.
why? Because whatever I coach him to do, he does it. Whatever I coach him to do, he does it. And he's grateful and he wants more help. And you know
Yeah.
what? He has a friend who's a really good guy. And I talked to this guy, and this friend goes, I just found out you have another program. I think I might need that more. Could you
Hmm.
send me a link so I could go look at it? I go, no, we can have a talk if you want. But what I want to say to him, and I'm gonna say to him when I talk to him, I go, listen, man, you're a good guy, but your business is failing. Your business is failing. Okay. I'm not somebody who is gonna listen to you tell me how to coach you. If you want my help, this is how we're gonna do it. And if you don't, no problem. Good luck to you. Keep going the way you're going. No, listen, you don't want
Totally.
to hurt people, but you gotta be honest with people. You don't want to be mean.
Yeah.
That's not nice. Don't be mean, but don't
No,
don't
I know.
don't be a
I think,
pushover either. Don't be mean, but don't be a pushover.
yeah, yeah. I think that's what I think. I'm like, I feel like if I tell them to, you gotta do what I say, or like, or
But they
you
do.
can't do it. Yeah. No,
They
it's
do have to
all
do what you
truth.
say. They
Everything
do.
I'm
If they don't
saying,
do what you say, why are they working with you?
everything, no, I 100%, like, everything I say is truth. I think, I don't know. I guess it's like more me being a pushover and a people pleaser. It can be that. I think that's what it is. I know. I'm a
Need to be strong, because when you're strong, they're going to be strong and they're going to be getting the results. If you are not strong, they can't be strong. They're relying
yeah.
on you for your strength, your knowledge, and your strength and your certainty. Your certainty. You got to go, this will work. Not, no, this will work. Do what I say and it'll work.
Yeah, I feel like that's a great thing to say for like all the people pleasers because there's so many of them. I like to tell people I'm a recovering people pleaser because I'm not like I used to be, where everyone really did walk all over me, and it's just I just kind of sat there and just took it. Now I definitely do become definitely more truthful, and trust me, I am. You know, I'm a heated up. debates, and like I don't like use the word argument, but like I would just say debates. That's just better because we're not like screaming at each other and being like screw you. But I definitely show my opinion more. So I definitely am getting better. I just use the word recovery people pleaser because I'm not 100% there yet, but I'm definitely working on it. And I think that's amazing how you came from going through, because you did go through that time with a divorce, and that definitely put you kind of like on living on the couch and having feelings of like, have you ever had like, I guess, I think your answer to say the answer is yes, but like like feeling like a failure, we're on the couch, but you're like, screw this, I'm not a failure, I'm gonna keep going. I think that's what a lot of people need help with. I mean, I know it's not like what you do, of course. People are supposed to work through that before they actually coach with you and such, which makes sense. You're not like a therapist or anything like that. I think I'm just bringing this up just for the purpose of the nature of the podcast, but I think just saying like your enthusiasm and how you are proof that it can work. And I think a lot of people in society just like, because I hear it all the time where I believe, I believe that people who are stuck in poverty doesn't have to stay stuck in poverty for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? And they just blame the system and everything. And so I get really like annoyed, but I shouldn't get annoyed. And I think it's just because of the mindset. It's like, that it is possible. Like I've had a friend who was in poverty and now she's in LA an actress because she was resourceful. She did it. And I'm trying to see where I'm kind of going with. I think I'm just more just kind of like talking to you in regards to thinking, basically thanking you for proving that people can change and transform. And I love having, people like you on here telling their story like, here I am now, you can do it too. And it's 100% true. And I think the problem with society is just that people are just all caught up with their trauma, what happens to them. They are very victim mindset. I really wish we didn't have that. I know you're not responsible for that, of course, but do you ever have like moments where you kind of like, at least on social media or something, want to try your best to like influence, I guess passively, like these victim mindsets? I haven't looked at I just look at your social, I think once, but do you do anything like that for people who aren't your like working with you yet?
I have 2 podcasts that I do. I've been a guest on 700 shows.
Hmm.
I do little videos. I'm going to be probably doing a bunch more. So I put a lot out there for free for people and near free. Like I've got 11 books
Hmm.
I've written. You can get the books on Kindle for like $5 or less. You can spend 20 or $30 if you get a copy. So there's a lot that I do for people.
Yeah.
Like I run a men's group. I help men. The last, you know, bunch of years have been rough on men. There's a lot of negativity in society toward men. So I do a lot to help a lot of people. And in my
Yeah.
business, I help a lot of people. It's a pleasure. It's an honor. But I'm going to help you if you want to help yourself. That's really
Yeah.
important. If you're not ready to help yourself, don't waste my time or your time. Right?
Yeah.
It's the truth. Look, you're a very nice person, right? I can tell you have a good heart. You want to help people. You want to win. You deserve to win, and you can win. I'm telling you, you got everything it takes to make $1 million a year. You can do it. You can do it in less time than you think. You can do it in 3 years or less. That's my belief. Like in my experience, 1 out of every 5 people can within 3 years or less get to 1 million a year or more. That's pretty good, right? That's pretty
Hmm.
darn good. And if you're one of those people who's ready to do the work, you'll be 1 out of every 1 people, right? Who'll get yourself there. The hard part is getting you to believe in you. That's my specialty because I believe in you, and my little spark of belief will turn into a roaring fire, and then you'll believe in you. And that's when you're off into the races. I'll tell you my last story, okay? We can kind of finish the podcast with this. About 7 years ago, there was a woman that came to us, and she was the country director for Canada for one of the world's oldest and largest personal development organizations. Been around since the 60s. And this girl was a powerhouse, right? Married, 3 kids. But when she came to me, right, she came to me because she'd had a little bit of a transition in her life. So she had hired a guy, and brought him on board to help her run the company. And she thought he was very talented. And at first, everything was amazing. They got on, they grew. After a year, their vision was no longer like this, it was like this. And so they started to clash, and there was a board of directors involved, and they sided with him and kicked her out of the company. Kind of like Steve Jobs with Apple back in the 80s, if you recall that story, John Scully, right? And just like Steve, she was like lost and bereft for 18 months, going, oh my God, what am I going to do? Finally, she got introduced to me. And this was a good woman. And me and my lady, we saw, wow, man, this is a good woman. We can help her. And so we sat with her, we poured into her, we loved on her. And within a month, she made $10,000 a month. Within 2 months, she made an extra $12,000 that month. In their third month, she made $18,000. 18 grand, eh? But month 4, girl, she made $62,200, man. And that figure will become germane in a moment. Now, she lives in Ottawa in Canada. I live in Toronto. It's a 5-hour drive. Now, at the time, my oldest son was 12. He's 19 now. And he back then used to play soccer. He played soccer for many years at a very high level. And he had a tournament in Ottawa. So I called her up and I said, hey, you got a son my son's age? She goes, yeah, I do. I said, we have a tournament in Ottawa this weekend. Would you guys like to come and watch a game and, maybe have lunch with me after with your son? And she said, yeah, that sounds great. So they came, they watched the game. We won the tournament. Awesomeness. And we had lunch. My son and I drove back home. A few weeks later, she was my client, right? I had one of my quarterly branded thought leader immersion workshops. This is one of these workshops where we teach you how to be a thought leader, the go-to expert in your space so you can make $1 million a year. We'd come to the point in the seminar where I did an enrollment opportunity for new people. There were 8 new people. We have a year-long program. It's $40,000. Okay. And when I do the enrollment opportunity, I usually ask some people who have already part of our program and have been doing really well to share their experiences. So, well, here's what happened. I said, who'd like to share? And normally people put up their hands. I pick on them. But this girl, I'm going to call her Julie. She raced up on stage, almost knocked me on my butt. And I'm like, okay, I guess she wants to talk. I said, yeah, go ahead. So she is standing in front of me. I'm behind her. It's kind of like this, right? And I see her from behind. And like, imagine this a person. She's like going like this. Like her shoulders are going up. And I go, what's going on? And then she starts to sob. I hear the sobs. I'm like, oh my God, why is she crying? What happened? What did I do? Like any man, when I see a woman crying near me, I think I did something wrong. So I go, what did I do wrong? So my woman, who's amazing and intuitive, comes up with a box of tissues and she gratefully takes a couple and she blows her nose. And then she comes to me. She's still crying and sobbing. She goes, Nicky, you didn't know this, but when you and your little son came to visit me and my little son, my little boy, he's all excited sitting in the back seat going, Mommy, 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 who are we going to go meet? And I said, oh, sweetie, we're going to go meet Nicky Billou and his son. And then she said, all of a sudden, it got really quiet. Now, 12-year-old boys are not really quiet in cars, okay? And she just looks and she says, he looks at her and goes, are we going to meet the man who saved our family? Now, Justine, man, I think you've noticed, I'm not feminized. I'm a masculine man. I don't cry in
Really, I had no idea.
I don't cry in public or any of that
Plot
stuff.
twist.
So I just don't cry in public. But Justine, I started bawling like a little baby.
Aw.
We hugged. Everyone just did what you did. Oh. And she said, you didn't know this, but when I first came to see you, we'd run out of money. The bank was going to foreclose on our home because I couldn't pay our mortgage. and her husband's an artist, right? And she said, my husband and I, we were fighting every day in front of the kids about money. The kids were freaking out. They thought we were going to break up. And I was freaking out because I thought I was going to lose my whole family. She says, but you helped me make money and I paid the bank back and our money troubles went away. And my husband and I stopped fighting and we're happier than ever. She said, you saved our family. And I kept crying and we hugged and she sat down. I didn't call on anybody else. I don't think anybody could have followed that. Usually I call on a couple people, 2-3 people. So we handed out the registration forms. There were 8 people in the room. I think I told you. Big ticket item, 40,000 1-year program. Normally, some people say yes and they join us. Some people say, no, I don't want to, and they don't. And some people go, well, indecisive. So I sit down with them and I get them off the fence. I make them decide, right? But on this day, Justine, everybody signed up. Everybody, immediately. In fact, there were 2 guys who had told me earlier in the course, they pulled me aside and said, Nicky, listen, I just want you to know I'm very experienced in business. And I know you're going to have an enrollment opportunity at some point. I said, I know it. See, I didn't fall off the back of the turnip truck. See, I know it. I just want you to know that I know it and that I'm not going to be signing up for your enrollment opportunity. I don't want you to get upset, but I'm not going to be signing up. And I'm like, okay, man, whatever.
He had to let you know.
Right. But then, they were like, yeah, 2 guys. They were the first 2 to sign up.
Really?
And the one guy came to me and said, you're a son of a bitch. You know that? I go, why am I a son of a bitch? Well, what did I do? He said, so I told you I wasn't going to sign up for enrollment opportunity. I says, I remember you did. Yet you just signed up. He said, I did. And I said, okay. He said, usually I go to these things and I don't want to sign up because I think that most people are full of shit and they just want my money. But I saw that you're not like that and I really need help. So here you go. And what I want to say to you is I do what I do to help people like this woman, Julie, her family, good people that just need a little bit of help. So all the hard work they're doing will start to pay off.
Yeah, and I bet when that happened, like that is the greatest gift is when they come up to you and like, you saved me, you saved my family, like especially from the, the kid and such, like that moment. And when you cried, it just like you felt like, like God gave you a gift and you're using it and it's saving people. How great is that? I love that. Yeah, I think that's like when I do this podcast, I even have people like who are struggling. They say like, "Oh, your podcast has helped me," and they'll DM me, and it's just like, "This is why, I'm doing it." And I believe we all have a reason to be on here to, have purpose and help others. And I think we, like you said, we're that 5% serving that 95%.
Amen, girl. Amen.
All right, I'm going to have all of your information in the description, but I want to thank you so much for coming onto my podcast and providing your wisdom and really motivating people. People listening are like, okay, gotcha. This is definitely going to get me going, and I really hope it does. But I just want to say again that I'm so grateful that you came on here, and thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on the show, Justine. God bless you.